ಇದಲ್ಲ ಫಸ್ಟ್
ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್.
ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Okay, good morning. So the last class I dealt with examination, medical examination of accused in case of sexual offences. So how to certify that, how to examine, how to certify. So today's class I'll be dealing with the examination of victim and the certification. Okay. Now to start with, so why are we supposed to do the victim examination? What is the main objectives of medical examination of a victim in case of sexual offences? So the main objectives is the evidence of penetration, in the sense whether has she been raped or not. Is there any evidence of penetration of any objects or the penis is there or not? That you will have to rule out. If at all the penetration is there, is it of a recent or the old? So that evidence you will have to look for. So the next one is evidence of injury suggesting the resistance, in the sense while that incident was occurring, whether the victim had a struggle or not to rescue herself. So for those things you will have to look for evidence of injuries. So the next one is presence of intoxicants or the drugs. Was she being intoxicated by any other means? That you will have to rule it out. So for that thing you will have to search for the evidences. So the next one is the collection of trace evidence. In the sense, any other evidences which either are foreign body, foreign materials or any stains, whether present on our body or what. So that thing you will have to collect. Next, apart from this, reporting a doctor for the treatment. After examination, if a doctor feels, feels that she needs a medical attention, then it is primus duty to inform or to report a doctor of either any, whoever specialty she belongs to, like OBG or the pediatrician. Next is the requisition from a judicial officer or the police officer. So this is very much needed for the examination of the victim. Unless and until you get the requisition on your own, you cannot perform the medical examination on the victim. So this requisition is a must. So the next, it should be examined by a female medical officer or in the presence of a female medical officer or the attendant. So one female attendant is must. Examination should be carried in a well lit room, giving a privacy. In the sense, it should be well lighted, okay, and there should be a privacy. Subject should be requested to undress herself. So when you are doing the examination, the clothes has to be collected. After the clothes also should be examined, and for on her body examination, so she herself has to undress. You cannot undress her. Okay, apart from all these objectives, we'll proceed for the procedure of the examination of victim. As you all know, first and foremost is the name and address has to be noted down. Then the age. This is as stated by the subject. So first, how the subject, the statement given by the subject, that age has to be mentioned. But accurate age or the confirmatory age can be detected, or that can be ruled out after doing the body physical examination and the investigations. Next what comes is referred by who? Which police station, who is the medical officer or who is the investigating officer? Brought by whom? So the female attender or the female police, whoever is. Their name and signature, consent has to be taken. Then what is the crime number? Now what is the police station? And then is the what is the date and time of the examination and the place of the examination where it is done. After that is informed consent has to be taken. See, if you people remember, during the accused examination I had told, the consent is taken but it is not the mandatory. Well, while that too especially when accused comes on his own without complaint or without medical legal case, at that time you need to ask the consent. But if he comes under the jurisdiction of a police, then his consent is not mandatory. But this is not so with in case of examination of the victim. Here informed consent is a must. So if she doesn't give consent, then you don't have any rights to examine the patient. Female witness present during the examination. So whoever is the female attender is there, that you will have to take the name and address along with the signature. So now after that, next comes is the mark of identification. So these identification marks has to be taken from the exposed areas, as I already told you people in the previous class, and minimum 2 identification marks are needed. Next, first and foremost thing is history you should ask. So what is the history? So in the history you should ask about the general history. General history is like how is she, how is her health, like that you can to start with. Next is coming to the sexual history. Sexual history in the sense whether she married or unmarried and whether she ever had a previous history of sexual intercourse with consent with whoever, whether she has got boyfriend or that, this or not, like that. Okay. And next is the menstrual history. Menstrual history, you will have to ask how is about her periods, like menses, whether it is of a regular menses or irregular menses, like how many days, all those things. Obstetrics history, what you ask, the same thing. Then obstetric history is whether she is married and had she conceived before or had she nullipara or para, all those things you have to dig into. Then history of the case. Now coming to the proper history of that particular incident. So where it happened, how it happened, when it happened, the sexual assault, that. And apart from this, any specific history of any specific topic is there about that, you will have to rule out, or that you will have to dig out. Next is mental status, you will have to judge. So after taking all this history thing, you can come to the some certain opinion regarding the mental status. So accordingly, you can ask the histories and you can rule out the mental status of the victim. Then examination proper, to start with examination of the clothing. So you will have to see what are the clothings are there, how is the status of the clothings, whether are they neat or crumbled, are they mud stained or blood stained, or any foreign material stains are there, any foreign materials are there, that you will have to see. So next, coming to the general examination. So in a general examination, your main aim should be to identify injuries present anywhere over the body, one thing. Second, identify any sort of stains, any part of the body. And third one is any foreign materials present over any part of the body. So these are our main aim to do the general examination. Now to start with the head, see for the injury to the head or the scalp. This is mainly due to the struggle. So if any avulsed head hair is there, whether hair is damaged or hair is disturbed, or hair is clumping is there, all those things you will have to rule out. Next, eyes you will have to see. Redness or swelling of the eyes. Then see for the saliva. Then rule out anywhere over the body abrasions or the bruises or the lacerations present over the face, throat, the breast, inguinal region or the inner side of the thighs, and see for the bite marks if it is present on these areas also. If bite marks are present, then you have to take the swabs from the bite marks. Next, if blood stain is there on, that you will have to rule out. And any injury to the arm or the wrist or any foreign material present over the surface of the body. Then examination of the nails including the surface, that is also very important. And fingernail clippings you have to take if any foreign material is there. If you find any suspect, so it is better to take the fingernail clippings, and also the fingernail bed scraping is very, very important rather than the fingernail clipping. So this would, scraping would give you more of accurate information, like any epithelial cells is there, blood stains is there, or any foreign material is there. So the next you'll have to see for the urine, whether passing urine is it of blood is there in the urine, or it is of clear urine is there, that will have to rule out. Then swabs from the soiled area, you'll have to take soiled areas and look for the injuries to the leg, ankle, etc. Okay, now the general examination is over. Next, coming to the local examination. So in the local examination, what you will have to do, see for the injuries. So no, before seeing the injuries, first you examine the local area. First and foremost thing, you take the swab. Before touching, so better to take the swab, because once you touch it, it will be like a disruption of evidences. So swab has to be taken. Then you see for the pubis and the perineum, and then look for the vulva. Then see for the hymen, whether the hymen is intact or the torn, and if at all it is torn, see whether is it of fresh or the old injury or the old tear is present, and what is the site and how much is the extent. And see is there any signs of healing in case of old tear. So this is the picture showing the vulva examination. In the first one it is of healed almost, whereas in the second picture it is of fresh tear. Okay, now what are the signs of healing of the hymen? So depending upon the hymen picture, you can judge how old is the hymen tear. This hymenal tear, if it is of red, swollen, tender, and if it bleeds on the touch, so that would suggest that the tear is of 1 to 2 days old. And if a small tear is there, that would heal by 2 to 3 days. And if it is of large tear, that would heal by 6 to 7 days up to 10 days. And healed edges will not unite and appear like the tags of tissue. So that would be seen as a tag of the tissue. That you can call it as carunculae hymenalis. Now, after vaginal delivery, these tags will be there. So that is called as carunculae myrtiformis. So, if it is carunculae myrtiformis, then you can surely say that it is of vaginal delivery. Now, dating is not possible after complete healing. At that time, you cannot comment on the what is the age of the tear, because it is already completely healed. So this is a schematic diagram showing the hymenal tear. Next, you will have to see fourchette. After hymen, you will have to see the fourchette. Then see the condition of the vagina. Is this of swollen, tender, red? So that you will have to look for. And you will have to also look for the sexually transmitted disease, which could be possible. So this is the local examination. So in the local examination, you see for the fingernails or the scratches, then see for the bruises, and then size of the opening of the vulva. Vulva. Then swab should be taken from the surface. Then swab also should be taken from the vagina. This is mainly for the to see the presence of the spermatozoa. Then see into the hymen. If tear is there, you will have to see whether it is of fresh tear or the old tears. And how is the condition of the hymen? Is this of firm or it is of flax? Then see for the tear in the rectum. Sometimes what happens is in very much severe assaulted cases, there will be tear even to the hymen and fourchette tear, and the perineum going into the rectum. Okay. So this is the local examination, the things you will have to see for. So after local examination, the next point is, or the next step is, the materials has to be preserved for the chemical analysis. This is a must. So then what are the materials should be preserved for the chemical analysis? The first and foremost thing, we'll have to preserve the blood. So this is mainly for cross matching, and if the this blood stains present on the accused, then you can see whether it is of a victim or the accused. So that will help to identify the accused also. Then clothes, same thing as I already told you people, it has to be preserved again to examine mainly for any sort of trace evidences or any sort of stains. So the next is vaginal swabs and smears, and this is mainly to rule out the presence of the spermatozoa. Then is a loose hair. Loose hair has to be taken, because if at all it is present over the accused, then you can, this is mainly to rule out whether that hair is of accused or of the victim. Next is sample of the pubic hair. This is especially very important if any matting of the pubic hair is there. So if at all stains are there, then you can rule out whether those particular stain belongs to accused or does it belongs to of victim. Next, any foreign bodies or any foreign materials or any fibers present over the body, that again you will have to take out, and it has to be preserved. Then it should be sent to the FSL for the chemical analysis. Okay, then the last step coming to the opinion. So this opinion is mainly based on the physical examination and on the investigations. So how the opinion can be given? So first thing we will have to see is there is evidence or no evidence of general injuries on the body. Next, there is evidence or no evidence of genital injuries on the body. So the first on the general injuries over the body. Second is the genital injuries over the body. And if there is evidence of genital injuries on the body, it could be due to penetration, could be due to a recent or the old. So if genital injury is there, that much is sure that there is a penetration is present. So could be recent or the old. Next, the final opinion is reserved pending the report of the chemical analysis. Though on physical examination, you would be sure that these are the things are present and you can give the opinion, but it should be a presumptive. So it should be a probable opinion. So the final opinion, you can say the provisional opinion, but the final opinion, it should be based on the chemical analysis when you have already sent it for the chemical analysis. Now, if semen or spermatozoa were detected in the vaginal swabs and the smears, then there is evidence of recent sexual intercourse. So, if you could find the sperms or the spermatozoa in the vaginal swabs and smears, then that would suggest that the recent the evidence of recent sexual intercourse is present. Okay, so that's why you will have to wait for the chemical analysis report to come, because in the chemical report, in the chemical analysis report, there is the vaginal swabs and smear, whatever has been sent, they are giving the positive result for the presence of spermatozoa. So it means there is a evidence of recent sexual intercourse. Okay. So the next, if semen or the spermatozoa were not detected in the vaginal swabs and the smears, if it comes negative, then what? It is the possibility of recent sexual intercourse cannot be ruled out. So in the sense, if the vaginal swabs and the smears are positive for the presence of semen and spermatozoa, then it is accurate, okay, to say that evidence of recent sexual intercourse. But if these vaginal swabs and smears are negative for the semen and spermatozoa, at that time the possibility of recent sexual intercourse cannot be ruled out. Means you cannot say that a recent sexual intercourse has not taken place. It would have been taken place. So the positive history and genital examination findings, they will help you to corroborate. Okay. So the next is, if there is no evidence of recent sexual intercourse, negative history and genital examination findings will be there. So because though the vaginal swab and smears are negative for the sperm, for the presence of spermatozoa, but there is a positive history and the genital examination findings are there on your examination. But if positive history is not there, and the genital examination also nothing positive sign you could make out, you could find, then you can say that the evidence of recent sexual intercourse is absent. Okay, now how do you interpret the medical evidence? So the first you will have to rule out the struggle, evidence of struggle you will have to rule out. So if evidence of struggle is present on the cloth worn at the time of the incident, the cloth would have been torn or crumbled, or the stains and all would be there. So that would give you a clinch that the struggle has taken place. Next, on the body in the form of injuries. So on the body, any part of the body, like as I already told you people, the back of the head or the over the face or the cheek or the lips or hands, the two elbow and the thighs, and anyway the injuries would be present. Either it could be general injuries or even the genital injuries. That would say that the evidence of struggle has been there. Okay, now general injuries mainly depends upon the age, strength and the knowledge of the victim about the act. So which part of the injuries will be present and what could be the severity of injuries. So it all depends upon the patient's age. If a children is there, a child, female child is there, and old age female is there, very old age. These two extremes, the injuries will be more as compared to the act of the force, the amount of the force. The injury extent would be more or the severity would be more, and even the strength and knowledge of the victim also it would affect. Now, more in grown-up females than in small children. So, in a sense, the surface area is more. So, the grown-up and adult females injuries will be more. And what happens here is, here in adult female, since has got a strength, so the resistance will be more. So that's why injuries will be more. Whereas in the children and old age, the resistance will be less, the injuries will be less, but the severity of injuries will be more. Whereas in females, because of the increased struggle, more injuries will be present. Now, if the victim was unconscious, sedated or pinned down by the several persons, then you might not be able to appreciate injuries because here the resistance will be zero. So, if the person has been or the victim has been intoxicated or sedated or has been has been pinned by several people are there, several more like in case of gang rape. More people are like her, she has been pinned down by the more people. So at that time there is no option or there is no chances for the struggling. So she would be passive. And that time you might not be able to appreciate the injuries due to the struggle. But injuries, in case of gang rape, injuries due to the accused holding could be present. Then gross or the severe injuries points to a non-consensual act, in the sense though this case is common in case of boyfriend and the girlfriends. So what happens is sometimes though they are in a relation, might not be willing for the sexual intercourse. At that time the boyfriend would have been forced her to indulge in the sexual act. So at that time what happens, by force they would have had the sexual intercourse. So at that time you can appreciate the injuries, both the genital or the general injuries could be present over the victim. So this would suggest that it is a non-consensual act. But if both the boyfriend and girlfriend would have indulged in the sexual course with both the consent, then no injuries would be found. Okay, next coming to the genital injuries, as has been already told, fresh or the old tear could be due to the penetration. And in a virgin, forcible sexual contact usually results in the genital injuries in case of virgin. Now, tear usually seen in case of posterior aspect. And what is the stage of healing if at all present? That you will have to rule out. Then may not present in habituated females and the false virgin. So this again you will have to rule out. If a female has been experiencing the sexual intercourse, the injuries would be absent, though it is of rape. And in the false virgin, you cannot make out the injuries. Whereas in the small children, hymen is situated high up. So the hymen may not rupture without injuries or to the external genitalia. So what happens? at that time, so when in the females, because of the fat, so the hymen is situated high up. So at that time, though there is a sexual assault, but you will not be able to appreciate the injuries to the external genitalia, or the hymenal tear is not possible so commonly. Now, evidences from the material objects. So, how do you correlate this? Any material on the subject which may be used as evidence to connect the accused with the victim has to be collected and should be preserved for laboratory examination. That's why present any material present over the clothes or present over the body has to be collected. Now, absence of trace evidence do not rule out the rape. So, if you don't find any sort of trace evidences either on the clothes or on the body, still that may not rule out that rape has not taken place. Okay. Then the possibility of the menstrual blood stains must be ruled out. So, if there is a blood stain is there on the undergarments or on the vagina, then you will have to rule out is it of menstrual blood or it is due to the assault. Now, if vaginal discharge is present and should be referred to the OPD concerned. So, this is mainly to seek the medical attention or to take the treatment. Then, if indicated, pregnancy test has to be performed. If she comes late, then you can do this pregnancy test. Then vaginal swabs and smears for the detection of the semen or the spermatozoa and for DNA testing has to be carried out. Now coming to the interpretation, the false allegation. So the false allegation, this is mainly done for getting the money or the blackmailing. So at that time you will have to rule out whether sometimes what happens is these females would, if they are getting personal benefit, they would come and they give the allegation over the any persons that she has been raped by that particular person. So at that time all these evidences would come for the rescue. A thorough clinical and chemical examination should be conducted to rule out such possibilities. So at that time, you will have to do the physical examination also, and the lab investigation also has to be done, mainly to rule out any evidences of sexual assault is there. Now, examination of, this is all by the, so far I told you about the examination of the victim in case of rape. Then the next one is examination of the passive agent in sodomy. See, here I am talking about the passive agent. Could be male or could be female. Okay. So, with the sodomy, the anal intercourse has been taken. The passive could be either a male or there could be female or could be child of either sex. So again we will have to see for the examination of the clothes, then general examination findings, then local examination findings, all the same as it is been dealt with the same sexual offense of the victim or the victim only. Okay, then do the local examination findings. So, local examination you can make out whether the person or the victim has been not habituated or been habituated. In a sense, he's been used the sodomy act or it is the first time. Okay. Then again you can see the injuries over the anus. If it is of habituated, then the anus and the gluteal fat will be, anus will be very lax and the gluteus fat will be lost. So that you can see. Then what are the samples to be preserved? The again swabs for the perianal region and the anal canal has to be collected. Then any foreign materials like pubic hair, that also has to be collected, and collect the undergarments. So this is what is the anal examination in case of sodomy. So smooth mucous membrane, see that also would have been torn. Then swab for the sperms has to be collected, and the sphincter will be lax, and there would be a large fissures and small fissures, and swab has to be collected from the anal margins for the semen and the lubricants. And this would tell you the keratinization is there, recent tear is there, fissures are there, funnel shaped anus is there. So this is all would tell you about the sodomy has been taken place. Okay. Next is the buccal coitus. So in the buccal coitus, again same thing, the swab from the oral cavity and the throat should be preserved and should be sent for the lab investigation. So the last part is coming to the rape trauma sequelae. So the rape trauma sequelae, in the sense, what happens is once the victim after the incident has leading the life, at that time you will have to see what are the sequelae she will be having, what are the mental trauma she will be having, what is her condition over the mental status and the physical status. So what she lead, is she leading a normal routine life, or there is a disarrangement of her daily routine life. So that we will have to see for. So first we will have to rule out epileptic fits. See, after trauma of this rape, so she will be in such a deranged mental state that she might throw the convulsions. Then next is whether has she in a depressive state or what. So many times it's the most common findings we come across. They will be in a depression. Next is suicidal tendencies you will have to rule out. So whether is she normal, or when she is left alone, has she got suicidal tendencies. So the care has to be taken that she should be under supervision and she should not be left alone in her room or the at house. Then one more specific term is there, that is called as rape trauma syndrome. So this is mainly the disorganization phase. It is an acute condition where there will be a disorganization phase is there. So this mainly includes there will be a emotional reactions. In the sense, suddenly she becomes emotional. Sometimes she starts crying, or sometimes she starts screaming. So very emotionally imbalanced state will be there. And sometimes she will be in a tension. And the feeling of guilt will be there, and also the humiliation will be there. So these are the terms which collectively comes under disorganization phase. So this is an acute condition. After the time passes, at that time later she would develop the reorganization phase. In a sense, she tries to readjust her life as far as possible. So at that time, she might complain of nightmares and the phobia. So this is the reorganization phase. Okay. So now, if at all the death is there, then what will be the cause of death in case of victim who has whose death is due to the sexual assault? That Nirbhaya case you would have been remembered. So the cause of death, if it is of sudden, then that could be due to the shock. If it is at that spot of the rape incident only, then death could be due to a shock, or could be due to the hemorrhage. Either the hemorrhage could be due to any other general injuries, or could be due to the local injuries, where could be due to the internal injuries. You never know. So depends on the situation. Next could be due to the suffocation, whether has she been suffocated by any means. Then could be due to the strangulation, but it also could be due to the suicide, could be due to the intoxication, or could be due to sepsis. This sepsis, in a sense, she would have survived for a certain period, where due to all these injuries, she would have developed the sepsis. So that would lead to the cause of death. So this is how I have completed the examination of the victim in case of the sexual offense. So this is very, very important for your exams. So in this, the examination of the victim in the sexual offense and the sodomy examination. So even the sodomy can also be given as in case of the sexual offenses. Okay. So if you have any problem, you please, or any doubt, or if you want any sort of clarification, you please let me know. I hope you have understood this. Please read this, and the same has to be filled in your record books. Okay. So this will be there for your final exams. So far I have covered with you people the accused examination and the victim examination in case of sexual offense and sodomy examination. Okay. So if you have any doubts or if you need any clarification, you are free to give me a call. Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. In the record, there is that pro forma is given with blanks. Should we write the case on our own, or will it be dictated, ma'am?
No, you have to write it on your own, because the accused examination I had dictated. Dictated in the sense that pro forma had told you people. Understood? And I had read out the pro forma, how to fill it out. Okay. So even in victim examination also it will be the same, almost. Okay. That you will have to fill it on your own.
We should only imagine a case, and whatever you have told, we have to write it on our own, ma'am.
Yeah. Same thing what I had told now for the accused examination, the same thing you will have to write it down. But only the examination part, local examination and the general examination, that you will have to write on your own. Okay?
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Hey, ma'am.
Yeah?
Yeah, so do we fill it in the record as it is, or do we have to write in a separate sheet and stick it again?
Why that victim examination is not there in that record?
It's there, ma'am, but it is little different from what you had shown in the last PPT.
No, that was for the acute examination. So whatever is there, that is mainly to give you the idea how to go with. Okay. So
Okay.
accordingly, you can fill it off. So whatever is there in your pro forma, that you will have to fill it up.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.